Deep in the heart of the jungle I heard it, a tiny roar. It was a sound that seemed almost out of place in the vast, dense wilderness. The jungle, with its cacophony of life, was a symphony of sounds. But this roar was different. It was a cry for help, a plea that pierced through the natural orchestra. It was faint, almost lost in the symphony of the rainforest. The rain pattered gently on the leaves, creating a soothing rhythm that contrasted sharply with the urgency of the tiny roar. The distant calls of birds and the rustling of unseen creatures added layers to the jungle's melody. But my ears, trained from years of exploring, picked it up. I'd spent countless hours in jungles like this, learning to distinguish between the myriad sounds. This roar, though small, was unmistakable. It was a sound that demanded attention, a sound that spoke of vulnerability and desperation. It was a sound of distress, the kind of sound that tugs at your heartstrings and compels you to act. I knew I couldn't ignore it. The jungle can be a harsh place, and any creature in distress is at the mercy of its many dangers. I followed the sound, my heart pounding with each step. The underbrush was thick, and every step was a challenge, but the tiny roar guided me, pulling me deeper into the heart of the jungle. Each step brought me closer to the source, and my anticipation grew. There, nestled amongst the roots of a giant fig tree, was a baby tiger. He was all alone. The sight was both heartbreaking and awe-inspiring. This tiny creature, with its delicate features and soft fur, was a symbol of the wild's beauty and fragility. His eyes, wide with fear, met mine. In those eyes I saw a mixture of fear and hope. He was scared, but he also seemed to sense that I was there to help. It was a silent plea for protection, a cry for a guardian in a world that had suddenly become very big and very scary. He was just a ball of orange and black stripes, small enough to fit in my arms. His fur was soft and his tiny body trembled with each breath. He was a beautiful creature, a testament to the wonders of nature. He was skinny and weak. He needed me. It was clear that he hadn't eaten in a while. His ribs were visible and his movements were sluggish. He was in desperate need of care and nourishment. I knew I couldn't leave him. The jungle is no place for a baby tiger to be alone. Predators, hunger and the elements would soon take their toll. He needed someone to look after him, to ensure his survival. He wouldn't survive on his own. The odds were stacked against him. Without his mother, he was vulnerable to the many dangers that lurked in the shadows. He needed a protector, someone to guide him through the perilous early stages of his life. His mother was nowhere in sight. I scanned the area, hoping to catch a glimpse of her, but there was no sign of an adult tiger. The jungle was eerily quiet, as if holding its breath. Maybe she was gone for good. The thought was a heavy one. If she had fallen victim to the jungle's dangers, this cub was truly alone. The responsibility of his survival now rested on my shoulders. Or maybe she would return, only to find her cub gone. It was a risk, a gamble, but leaving him there, vulnerable and alone, seemed like a far greater risk. The decision weighed heavily on my mind. It was a risk, but I had to take it. The jungle is unpredictable, and every decision carries its own set of consequences. But in that moment, my instincts told me that taking him with me was the right choice. I gently scooped him up in my arms. He was surprisingly light. His small body fit perfectly in my embrace, and I could feel his tiny heart beating against my chest. It was a fragile, precious life that I now held. He snuggled into me as if seeking comfort. His tiny paws clung to my shirt and he buried his face against me. It was a moment of connection, a bond formed in the heart of the jungle. In that moment, I vowed to protect him. I would be his guardian, his protector. The jungle had brought us together, and I was determined to see him grow strong and healthy. I would be his new family. Together, we would face the challenges of the jungle. And as I walked away, cradling the tiny tiger in my arms, I knew that our journey had just begun. Getting him out of the jungle was a challenge. The dense foliage and uneven terrain made every step a struggle. The sounds of the jungle, the calls of distant animals, and the rustling of leaves added to the tension. I had to be constantly vigilant, ensuring that no predators were lurking nearby, ready to pounce on the vulnerable cub. He was so small and fragile. His tiny body fit perfectly in my hands, and I could feel his rapid heartbeat against my palm. It was a reminder of how delicate life can be, especially in the wild. I carried him close, careful not to jostle him too much. Every movement was deliberate, ensuring his safety and comfort. The bond between us was already forming, and I could sense his trust in me growing with each passing moment. The journey back to my base camp was long and tiring. The weight of responsibility bore down on me. but the thought of giving Stripes a chance at life kept me going. Each step was a testament to my commitment to his survival. But every time I looked down at the little guy sleeping peacefully in my arms, I knew it was worth it. I named him Stripes. His distinctive markings were a symbol of his identity, a reminder of the wild he came from. It was a simple name, but it suited him. Each stripe told a story, a testament to his resilience and the journey we had embarked on together. Back at the camp, I made him a cozy bed in a crate. I lined it with soft blankets, ensuring he had a warm and comfortable place to rest. It was important for him to feel safe and secure in his new environment. I fed him warm milk from a bottle. The nourishment was crucial for his growth and development. Each feeding session was a bonding experience, a moment of connection between us. He lapped it up eagerly, his tiny tail swishing back and forth. It was a sign of his growing strength and vitality. Watching him feed with such enthusiasm filled me with hope for his future. He was so small and helpless. His vulnerability was a stark contrast to the fierce predator he would one day become. It was a reminder of the responsibility I had taken on, but there was a spark in his eyes, a will to live. That spark was a beacon of hope, a sign that he had the strength to overcome the odds stacked against him. I knew I had my work cut out for me. The road ahead was filled with challenges, but I was ready to face them head on. Stripes deserved a fighting chance, and I was determined to give it to him. Raising a tiger was no easy feat. It required patience, dedication, and a deep understanding of his needs. Every day was a learning experience, a step towards ensuring his well-being. But I was determined to give him the best life possible. I wanted to see him grow strong and healthy, to witness his transformation from a fragile cub to a majestic tiger. Even if it was just for a little while, he deserved that much. Every moment spent with him was a gift, a chance to make a difference in his life. And I, perhaps selfishly, wanted to give him that. The bond we shared was special, a connection that transcended the boundaries of species. It was a reminder of the beauty of life and the power of compassion. The first few weeks were a blur of feedings, cleanups, and sleepless nights. Stripes needed constant care. He was like a newborn baby. I fed him every few hours, his tiny teeth nibbling playfully on my fingers. I cleaned up after his accidents, which were many, and I made sure he felt safe and loved. He grew quickly, his appetite increasing by the day. Soon he graduated from milk to meat. I would bring him fresh meat from the market and he would gobble it down with gusto. As he grew bigger and stronger, his playful nips turned into playful bites. He would bat at me with his paws, his claws still not sharp enough to do any real damage. But I knew I had to start setting boundaries. As much as I saw him as my little cub, he was still a wild animal. I had to teach him respect for his own safety and mine. It was a delicate balance, showing him love and affection while also asserting my dominance. My backyard transformed into Stripes' personal kingdom. It was a sight to behold, a lush paradise that seemed almost otherworldly. The transformation was nothing short of magical, turning a simple backyard into a majestic realm fit for a king. He had a large enclosure filled with trees to climb, rocks to bask on, and plenty of space to roam freely. The trees were his favorite. He would often be seen scaling them with the grace and agility of a natural-born climber, and a pool to cool off in. On hot summer days, Stripes would take long, leisurely swims, his powerful body cutting through the water with ease. It was his own private oasis, a place where he could escape the heat and simply enjoy being a tiger. He loved to explore his domain, every inch of it. From the highest branches to the deepest corners, Stripes knew his territory like the back of his paw. His curiosity was insatiable, and he would spend hours investigating every nook and cranny, his roars echoing through the neighborhood. These powerful vocalizations were a testament to his strength and dominance. They could be heard from far and wide, a reminder to all that this was his kingdom. The other animals on my property, my dogs and chickens, kept a safe distance. They were fascinated by him, yet instinctively knew to respect his space. It was a delicate balance of curiosity and caution. They knew who the real boss was now. Stripes commanded respect without even trying. His mere presence was enough to establish his authority. Stripes was full of energy. He was always on the move, always looking for the next adventure. His zest for life was infectious, and it was impossible not to be captivated by his boundless enthusiasm. He would spend hours chasing after butterflies, pouncing on leaves, and engaging in playful antics. These moments of pure joy were a delight to witness, a reminder of the simple pleasures in life and wrestling with his toys. Watching him play, it was easy to forget that he was a powerful predator. His playful nature was endearing, a stark contrast to his formidable appearance. It was easy to forget that he was a powerful predator. He was just a big playful kitten at heart. His antics were a source of endless entertainment, and I often found myself laughing at his playful behavior. He was just a big playful kitten at heart. But there were moments when his wild instincts would surface. These glimpses of his true nature were both awe-inspiring and humbling. But there were moments when his wild instincts would surface. He would stalk birds that landed in his enclosure, his eyes laser-focused. His movements were calculated and precise, a reminder of his predatory prowess. He would stalk birds that landed in his enclosure, his eyes laser-focused. It was a mesmerizing sight watching him switch from playful to predatory in an instant. His instincts were sharp, honed by nature. He would let out deep growls, a primal sound that sent shivers down my spine. These growls were a stark reminder of his wild heritage, a sound that resonated with the raw power of the jungle, a primal sound that sent shivers down my spine. It was a sound that commanded attention, a reminder of the untamed spirit that resided within him. It was a reminder that no matter how much I loved him, no matter how much he felt like family, he was still a wild animal. Our bond was special, but it was built on mutual respect and understanding. No matter how much he felt like family, he was still a wild animal, and he always would be. This realization was both sobering and beautiful, a testament to the unique relationship we shared. He was still a wild animal, and he always would be. His wild spirit was an integral part of who he was, and it was something I cherished deeply, and he always would be. His wildness was a part of his charm, a reminder of the untamed beauty of nature. It was an honor to share my life with such a magnificent creature, the true king of the backyard.